Instead of giving you just one person, I've got multiple people, and this time I have with me three members of the Theory Nation organization. I've got Van Top, Elite Instincts, and Zen 12. How are you gentlemen tonight?
Doing good,
Good.
thanks.
Doing good.
Thanks
Good,
for
bud.
having us.
All right. Well, we've been getting things ready, and so now I'm ready to get hot and heavy into this. And so let's start with like some speed dating bios. Get things off the ground. I want you to tell me a bit about yourself, what you do in real life, what you do for the team, those kinds of things. So let's start with the captain of the team, Elite Instincts. Tell me a bit about yourself.
Okay. In real life, I'm an optician, so I work in an optical. I work with eyes, glasses, and stuff like that. For the team, I'm the captain. I kind of do a lot of scouting, research, and stuff like that. And I run pick draft, pick ban, but I don't really run it. I kind of get a lot of input from the players and what we think we should do, and we go from there. So it's a big team thing when we go through drafts. It's not just I dominate it. I kind of lead discussion, and we go from there.
So they just don't listen to you. Like you have great ideas, and then nobody listens to your ideas, and they deviate from there in pitch draft.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
they usually listen pretty well. It's just sometimes I'll get an opinion on matchups and stuff like that because I don't know all the matchups. I know a good chunk of them and I discuss them with the laners, but sometimes it's a little bit different than what I think.
Right, and then you play. I'm sure you probably said it, but you play ADC for the team, correct?
I play support slash ADC since I play Senna half the time.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
He's got a great support KDA.
you
but
play
that's Senna.
you play marksman.
Yeah.
All right, and so now Van Top, tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 31 years old, so
Okay.
me and Zend are the old guys on the team. Like we said earlier, I have 6 kids, which gets a little bit crazy. And IRL, I used to work in the trades for house building companies, and now I'm headed back to school in September for computer science.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely understand that. I'm currently headed back to school as well for healthcare science, so it's going to be good times. As a 30-year-old, I appreciate you going back to school. It's going to be rough. I'll be right there with you, man. And then last but not least, we've got Theory's End sitting here with us. Tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm Zend. I'm also 31 years old. You know, you gotta have just about 2 boomers per team, or else it gets a little bad. I'm our organization's general manager for their League of Legends branch. I also run our League of Legends stream and manage our Twitch and Twitter channel. I'm also the support sub lane or sub support player.
There you go. If you had to go in, I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but if you had some sort of pocket pick that you're like, hell yeah, like this is my jam, like is there a support that you are just head and shoulders above your peers on?
I mean, first off, you gotta remember I've been playing for like 8 years, so I promise this isn't as bad as it sounds, but I do have like 1.4 million mastery points on Leona.
There we go. I like it. I respect that. Now that we've gotten through the speed dating interviews, I want to start with some team dynamics here. And I'm only asking this question because Zen kind of offered this up, and now Van has offered up that he is a father of 6. So Van, you've been described as the team dad, and Zen, you're the self-prescribed mom of the team. So I want to start with Zen. I want you to tell me about the team dynamics, and then, Van, I want you to tell me about the team dynamics, and then Zen, I want you to fill the gaps for him.
Okay, so I play the tanks usually, and by usually I mean every game. Um, so, so what I've kind of found is team fights, especially. I'm kind of looking at our carries. We've got Voss and Elite and Comet, and they're kind of like my little children running around getting into shit, right?
Yeah.
And I have to keep an eye on them, and whichever one's about to like teeter off the side of the stairway or crack his head open on the cement, I have to jump in with my Maokai W and knock him back, knock him into place, block him from the corner of that table. So that's kind of like my part of the dynamic of the team.
So you're
Wow.
the hovering hand, if you will, just
I'm the
over
hovering hand.
over the forehead before it hits the corner. Okay.
Exactly.
When Dad has to go to work though to dive the back line, rest assured, mom's there.
All right, so Zen, what is your mother-like figure here? What's the mother hen doing? What's the peacock mode that we're gonna see?
Mother hen has a favorite child, and that favorite child is the ADC. So I'm mostly just hovering Ashton there to make sure he stays alive and gets fed. But yeah, whenever Dad has to dive the back line, I protect the rest of the kids.
There we go. I like it. I enjoy that team dynamic, and so now we're gonna start. We're going to talk about your team, and we're going to talk about where you are in this split. And right now, after 4 weeks, your team is 8-0. This is unprecedented, in PRL and essentially D1 and below leagues, right? You just don't see these kinds of runs. Mistakes happen, and often they're capitalized on. But you guys are 8-0 after 4 weeks. So I want to ask Elite, as the team captain, what makes your team so lethal?
We have a really good macro sense of the game. I don't know, we sometimes troll early game. You'll see us like throw a dragon fight or something, but we always have good morale, and then we wind up coming together with good macro calls and good team fighting in late game, which really gives us a good edge. Since I think we team fight very well in comparison to most teams, and we do pick scaling comps that wind up, fitting that role.
So Zen, is there anything about your team that you think essentially is giving you that competitive edge over the others as that coach and manager position? What is something that you see from that eagle's eye view that it's like, my team is doing this, and this is why we are slaughtering people?
Well, I mean, for one, we have the best mid laner in PRL, Mr. Comet. Like, there's nobody that's better than him, so that's always going to give you an edge at every stage of the game. You put him on a scaling champ, and he still wins early. It's incredible. But sort of kind of along the lines of what Ashton said is that we have great morale. So even if we lose early game, there's no negativity, there's no blaming, and then we have the macro sense to transition that into a mid game, evening out, and then a late game lead.
Yeah, I appreciate that having that mid laner that you think you can fall back on, and then the team dynamics as essentially a whole emotional concept that you guys can continue the push, regardless of the resistance. Because we've seen you get behind, but we have seen you guys triumph time and time and again, which, like I said, in D1 and below leads is just something that we don't see very often. And so when I do these interviews, often we do lightning rounds, but it's tough to do lightning rounds with 3 people. So what I'm gonna do is it's more gonna be like newlyweds, if you will. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question, and then I want you to hold your answers, and then you guys are gonna respond in unison. Does that kind of make sense?
Oh yeah. Sure. I remember that old game show.
Yeah, as the 30-something-year-olds, we will probably have a bit of that still before us, but we saw it on TV at least. Elite Instincts, you shout it out when I say because you're confused.
I got the concept. Never heard the show though.
Oh boy. Okay, here we go. All right, so I want you to think on who, well, now I feel like this is going to be spoiled, but who on your team do you consider the mechanical beast of the team? So in unison, in 3, 2, 1.
Comet.
Okay, Comet. That's a strong majority that we're hearing there. I expected to be a lot more. Most teams are very divided, but you guys are very centric on who you think is the mechanical beast. So we'll move on there. I think this one might catch more, and we'll see why. So who catches the majority of the flame during practice? I'll give you a minute to mold on this one. Just think about who you think it is. All right. And so now on your team, who catches the majority of the flame? In 3, 2, 1.
Bloodvoss.
I'll Savage Fork.
Come on.
All right, let's break it down. Theory, what was your answer here?
I said Voss, but that's actually our jungler that got banned from this league, so...
Yeah, I said Voss too.
Okay.
That's a very, very trolly individual, so...
Yeah, I mean,
keep him focused.
That kind of makes the most sense that, he's going to catch the most flame from everybody. It seems like the priority is target. And so now, Elite Instincts, who was your answer?
I said either supports. We have two. We do kind of use both hand in hand.
Okay.
But that's more so for me, just kind of feedback and them giving me feedback. So it's kind of banter back and forth between us and how we should be playing lane and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so since I'm talking with them one on one the whole time, it's kind of I notice it more there.
All right, so
Teams.
yeah, just for you, Elite Instincts, like, so when you die in lane, why is it your support's fault?
No. Okay, so that doesn't happen often first.
It's usually I die in lane first.
Yeah, both my supports are pretty good about being sacrificial for me.
Yeah.
So it's not their fault. It's just small things where we like have disagreements on how we should have played something. We usually get through it, and then come game day we're ready. But in scrims it's a little bit different where we're experimenting, trying out new picks and stuff like that.
A lot of VOD review.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but that's kind of one of the reasons that we fuck around a little bit in the scrims is because we need to see what doesn't work. We need to limit test, and then when we VOD review, we're able to apply it in game.
Yeah, trying
Real
to
game, you know.
yeah, pull those things out, be able to show them off once they've actually been polished. So last honeymooner question that we got here, and this one, once again, I'm gonna give you a second to think about because it's a bit of a obviously subjective question. And you got to really consider your teammates' strengths here. And so you're trapped on a desert island with one of your teammates, and your survival is based on each other. Who on your team are you taking with you?
Oh, that's tough.
All right, I want you to consider. I want you to take a minute. You know that this is life and death at this point in time. So obviously we're holding on strong here, and so now I need you to come up with an answer, and you're gonna answer in 3, 2, 1.
Van.
Either sport.
All right, so Van, who'd you start with?
I said Elite.
Okay, why are you going with Elite Instincts?
So I'm going with Elite because he is always prepared. Everything. OPGGs, team comps of the enemies. Like, the guy does his research. So if we're stranded on an island, he's got the encyclopedias. He's got, Google on his phone researching everything. I can just lay back. Like, he's just going to be like, look, do you want this bed or this bed built? And I'm going to be like, that one. And
He's
he's
just
going to have everything
You're just
done.
gonna lay back, and he's gonna tell you to play Maokai, and
Right.
we'll win from there.
Yeah, I've got multiple choices and shelters I can build. I will go ahead. I'll offer you these. Okay, I like that. Okay.
That's Elite, man. That's him.
All right. So Lee, the man with the plan, who you taking with you? As you've already got it mapped out, but you need somebody on your side.
Well, again, I wouldn't really either support again. I mean,
Oh man, so non-controversial as an ADC. This is
Biased.
insane.
Someone's
That
gotta,
is biased.
someone's gotta build the shelter that he planned out.
There we go.
Yeah, both are
That's-
really intelligent. Like I respect a lot of their opinions, so they're good conversational, and then they also can like discuss with them how I want to go about things in surviving on the islands. And then since I play with them the most, I do talk to them the most, and I'm pretty good friends with both of them, so it kind of works out good that way.
All right, that's fair. And then Zend, what was your option here?
Listen, if all of our kids could get trapped on that island, I had to pick Van because, like, him and I were the parents. We got to sacrifice ourselves.
That's right.
Plus, we're the closest to death, anyways.
There
Yeah,
you
we only have a few good years left.
Yeah, might as well just die out there.
It's pretty much over at this point in time. I mean, your hands are garbage. Your mind is just melting. Yeah,
it's
I
not
know.
easy being a wash support player. Let me tell you.
I know. As a wash
Or a tank
jungler,
top
I
player.
feel you. All right. So now it's going to be a little bit trickier for us to do this on the stream, but we'll try to make it look good here. I'm going to end up showing my stream to these guys in front of me. They are going to talk about some clips that we got, and we got one. It's a little bit memey. The other, slightly more.
Us?
The other is slightly more dreamy.
Okay.
And so what's going to happen is that the first more memey clip that we're going to talk about, unfortunately, is going to go to you, Elite Instincts. I need you to describe a play that happened down in the bot lane, and the play that I will be referencing is going to happen. Let me see who it was. New Age Esports that you guys played against. It was a bit of a fumble of a 3-on-3 that became a 4-on-4. And so give me just a second. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. It's going to look weird on the screen for our viewers, but that's okay. Let's just go ahead and do this, and there we go. If you guys will, go ahead and click over to the screen that you see that is live. Everybody else is going to see weird cameras, and that's all right. And so now, is everybody watching?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Elite Instincts, I'm not going to be able to pause the video or anything, but I want you to just go ahead and tell me a little bit about what's happening as you see it unfold in front of you. As right now you're playing Senna, and this you've got your set support here.
Looks good so far.
So you got J4 that came in. Lee Sin
I'll have to
goes
watch
back.
it through. We'll see. Oh, I don't even know what happened there.
All
I
right.
think we were just overconfident. With Senna, we always feel like we can win fights. Usually we run Senna Tarek, my support that's currently in the league. One-eyed right there. He is a Tarek main.
We'll play it back for you.
Master. Yeah, it looks good at first, and they just flash out. I mean, it's just a little bit misplay. Yeah, it's just a little bit of overconfidence. Oh, and then Moody's took the Q back in there. Me and Lobo were kind of discussing during the game. We thought, just leaving was the better play, but we kind of took the Q in. So it's just a little bit of miscommunication, a little bit of greed, and a little bit of overconfidence since we're used to Tarek healing, so we would all live there. With Set, we don't have as much of that. So it was definitely a misplay by us. We looked at it afterwards, and we all agreed that it should have been played a little bit differently, but it wasn't a huge issue.
So kind of like a mind was telling me no, body was telling me yes, as the Lee Sin pressed that Q button and went back in.
Yeah. Otherwise, the other option is we just leave him and we take the 1-for-1. It's just the support for a jungle kill versus Caitlyn getting a kill, so it's not as worth. But
Does Moody's have an off switch though when he's playing Lee Sin?
no. Moody's needs to acquire his 21 kills in order for us to win. So that's kinda how
Right.
it goes.
I'm pretty sure this is the game where I told him he had to get over 25 kills. So.
I think he
Yeah.
did get like 17 kills or something that game. Yeah.
Oh.
It was pretty close. All right, so Van, now we're gonna go to you, as we'll take a look at this one for our viewers, and this one is gonna be again. This one's a bit more dreamy, and this is against Eclipse Esports, and this was a outplay maybe in the top lane. So we'll see how this one looks. Van, talk us through what's happening here.
Oh, I remember this.
Okay. So, yeah, this guy, he tries to tower dive me. He fails his flash, and I give him the ring around the rosy on the tower. Now, the reason I know how to ring around the rosy on the tower is because I've had it done to me many times in solo queue when I dive. So
Okay.
I just had to, use it against them.
Yeah, learn the mistakes that you have already, or shown the mistakes that you have already learned, essentially.
That's right. And, the thing is, I play tank top laners, and a lot of people try to dive tank top laners. I guess they think that because I don't put out a lot of damage that for some reason my tower's not going to put out a lot of damage, but the tower puts out a lot of damage. And usually diving a tank is not in your best interest.
Yeah, I feel like Van has this property where like people just get super cocky when they're playing against him, and they're just like, "Oh, we can make plays happen," and then Van's just like, "Okay, try," and then they just die, and it's like, "Well, the 1v1, they just lost their advantage they had, and now the game's over." So it works out really good when they do that.
Yeah, I loved pulling, or I was just like going through your guys' clips to just see what I could find, and when I saw that play, I was like, oh man, like anybody that has ever played League of Legends, you have had that moment as the opposing top laner where you're just like, I have this kill, and then the dude just walks barely around, and you're like, all right, I look like a fool. And when it happens on stream, it's so much worse.
I really thought you were gonna pull a Mr. Comet one-shotting someone with Victor Clip.
Oh,
The casters love his Victor.
Yeah, I decided, I knew who my audience was that was going to be here in front of me, and so I had to make sure that I had, something in front of me here.
Yeah.
And I really like seeing you guys innovate down in the bottom side. And, I say innovate, obviously we have seen Senna paired with melee things before. And so Elite, you've talked about, half of your games are in Senna. You talked about the ADC role. But for you, like, does marksman mean, or ADC mean that you have to have the most damage? Or is it just a position that you play and you're filling a role for your team and, that role shifts based on what your team needs?
Oh, it definitely like most AD carries are like, oh, I'm not getting all the gold, I'm not doing all the damage, like they're mad. I look at it more as we do whatever we need to do to win. So if that means I'm getting no resources, I'm giving the resources to Comet, I'm perfectly okay with that. Even if I'm playing Senna or Ezreal or anything, we even innovate with other things. I don't want to go in too much into detail because it might come out later. But some other things might come out that you guys will be surprised by, and won't be me carrying for sure.
All right.
We got some good ones.
So full AP MF, I'm ready to see with the E Make It Rain. I'm super pumped on that one. All right.
AP MF, AD carry, and then AD Ash support.
Hell
Oh, yeah.
yeah. That's what
Oh,
I like
yeah.
to hear, boys.
Be
That's what I
ready.
like to hear. All right. So we're going to close things out, and I want to I want to offer this last question before we do shout outs and things that you guys just kind of want to mention. So, Zen, as a coach, when you look at your team, what instills the pride that I know you feel when you watch them play on Summoner's Rift? Obviously, they're 8-0. They're doing very well. But when you watch you guys, what is it that you see from them that you're like, hey, like my guys are doing it well. They're doing it better. We're a different squad than the rest.
Two things, actually. One is our drafting. We've sort of mentioned a few times here that we practice a lot of different comps in our scrims, and they don't always work. But we limit test a lot to build these really unique drafts. So when we go into any draft, we have like 6 priority picks. So it's almost impossible to really ban us out. But secondly, on top of that is our morale. You've mentioned yourself that we do get behind in games every now and then, but you'll never see tilt, ever. I mean, you've already seen some teams in PRL losing their junglers from flaming their mid laners publicly. That's just not us,
Yeah.
That's just not us. So that's what makes us different.
Yeah, well, I respect that. And so now we're just going to do some like final shout outs, final thoughts that you have, where you guys think you're going. I'm going to start with Van. Where do you see your team going in the future in this league?
I think we can win. I think we're all just interested in improving as players and as a team. So, I mean, even if the win doesn't happen, like, I think already we've learned so much and improved so much as a team. And I think the goal is just to be the best that we can be. And if we're smashing out games doing it and winning leagues, then that's great. And if we're losing and we're still improving, I mean, that's good too.
All right, and then Elite, what is it that is that you want to see from your team that is going to push you to that next level, that next echelon as that team captain? What breaks you out of this mold that makes you be that next step up team here in PRL?
Well, right now I think we're doing pretty good at doing that. We do have steps we're trying to take in order to make us better and improve us. We have long-term goals that we're trying to hit, and as we work towards those, we have things we have to improve on individually and as a team. Like we wanna differentiate our drafts and stuff like that. We have some styles we can play. We want to diversify that more than we have it already, and then we do just want to keep improving as individuals and hopefully all get closer towards like masters, grandmasters, and go from there.
Nice. And then Zend, over to you. As the final shout out, I'll just give you the opportunity, shout out anything that you like, any final closing thoughts that you have as a team manager, as a coach, as that position. What are your final thoughts as we close out this interview?
I'm just really proud of our team and our whole organization. If I had to give a shout out, it'd probably be to Blood Boss. And I know he's our banned jungler, but he took it pretty gracefully to step back and let Moody's, who was on our roster, kind of step forward. Sort of a next man up situation, but kudos to both of them for handling the situation so well.
There you go. Just that professionalism in the face of adversity. That's going to be the end of our interview. I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate Theory Nation. You can check them out at Theory Nation GG. That is their Twitch. Make sure you follow them. Obviously, you see all the Twitches, or not Twitches, the Twitters. Those are the things that I'm talking about. You'll see them underneath their names. Make sure you follow them. You can find out all things that they got. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great evening. We will see you next time with Phoenix Rising Magazine.